The House of Representatives on Capitol Hill paid tribute to a 9-year-old girl who was shot and killed in Richmond. Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger spoke in honor of Markiya Dickson on the House floor.
This video was compiled using information which was made public via news or government agencies and is intended to honor the lives of those who met an unimaginable fate and also bring awareness to the unjust behaviors in our communities. On the afternoon of May 26, 2019, Carter Jones Park in Richmond, Virginia was filled with smiling faces. It was Memorial Day weekend and families were bonding and having a grand time. Markiya Dickson and her family attended the community cookout, not knowing their lives would change forever that evening. While the children played, an argument began on the basketball court, which led to gunfire. According to witnesses, the gunshots rang out just before 7:23 p.m. Unfortunately, 9-year-old Markiya and 11-year-old Jaquez Evans Moses were struck. Markiya later died at the hospital after her father, Mark Whitfield, rushed her there. A third person also suffered a non-life-threatening gunshot wound and came forward several hours after the incident. Markiya Dickson spent her first years in school at Red Elementary School in Richmond, Virginia. She then transferred to Chesterfield County's Crestwood Elementary School, where she was fondly remembered as a beautiful, fun-loving child who put a smile on the faces of those around her. Following the fatal shooting, tributes to Markiya and wishes of comfort and condolence to her family decorated a boulder at the entrance to the Carter Jones Park. Additionally, counselors were on hand at both schools where young Markiya had left her mark among the student bodies. Jesus Turner, 20, and brothers Quinshawn Betts, 18, and Jermaine Davis, 21, were identified as suspects in the investigation and arrest warrants were issued. The community showed immense love and support to Markiya's family in the aftermath of her untimely passing. Community groups held vigils calling for an end to the violence. Her family held a vigil on June 6, 2019 at Carter Jones Park. Online, a GoFundMe page was set up to help pay for Markiya's funeral expenses with a total of $10,000. By the end of the campaign, persons had donated $17,955 to her family. During this time, Richmond police continued to release information to the public in hopes of capturing the now fugitives. They provided in-depth descriptions of the trio at the time of the incident. Some resources reported more than 1,000 people, including family, friends, and many of her former classmates at Red Elementary School in Richmond, attending her funeral, which was held at the Arthur Ashe Jr. Athletic Center. The midday service, held on June 7, 2019, saw solemnity, weeping, comfort, and honoring a beautiful young girl who was loved by those who knew her. The family, along with many community members and police, called for an end to the senseless violence. The first of the trio to be convicted was Quinshawn Betts. Betts' attorney argued he was defending himself and his brother after a gunman opened fire on them first. He was found guilty in September 2020, and he was later sentenced to 68 years in prison with all but 22 years suspended for second-degree murder, malicious wounding, and firearm charges in the murder of Markiya Dickson and wounding of Jaquez Evans Moses. Next up was Jermaine Davis. During opening arguments, the prosecutor, Caitlin Kelly, argued that he played a role in Dickson's death and deserved to be convicted. Davis's attorney argued that Davis was running away and heard the shots behind him. He also argued that Davis was not a part of the shooting. Kelly stated that the motive for the shooting was long-standing beef between a man and a family member of one of the 3 men charged, and in total 23 bullets were fired. There was a 4th person who was involved in the shooting. As Richmond police investigated and located the man who was not charged, prosecutors said he gave police his gun. While there were 23 shell casings found on the scene, only 1 came from the man not facing charges and 22 from the 3 other guns. The persons responsible for firing the other 3 guns were charged, and the prosecutors kept the identity of the 4th shooter secret for safety reasons. Additionally, the prosecutors shared that the 4th shooter was shooting in the opposite direction toward the men. Therefore, his bullet did not go into the direction of Markiya Dickson or the crowd. The defense had initially argued that he was the one who took out his gun first. Davis took the stand on day 2 of his trial and stated that he was going to get away after the shooting started. He stated that he did not know who was shooting, didn't see any guns, and that he did not have a gun. Therefore, he had nothing to do with the shooting. When Kelly began questioning Davis, he admitted that he lied to investigators numerous times after he was arrested. He also admitted to telling police that he had not been to Carter Jones Park in 2 years. Later, he changed the story and told police that he was at the park early that afternoon. Eventually, he admitted that he was there at the time of the shooting. The trial of Jermaine Davis concluded on its 3rd day, November 17, 2020, and he was found guilty of 2nd-degree murder, malicious wounding, and firearm charges. The jury recommended he spend 33 years behind bars. That sentence included 20 years for 2nd-degree murder and 13 years for the other related charges. He was scheduled to be formally sentenced on May 18, 2021, and was ultimately sentenced to the recommended 33 years. In July, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, joined the investigation and offered a $20,000 reward in helping to capture Jesus Turner, who police determined as 5'7", 120 pounds, and was known to frequent Whitcomb Court.
Like she just said, speak up, say something. Don't wait till it's your people that's laying in a body bag. Don't wait on that to happen. Just start speaking out. If you know your neighbor's a criminal, he's running around shooting and killing people, let it be known he got to get out of there because he's corrupting the community.
The arrest announcement comes just over 5 months after Markiya's tragic death. A lot of resources, to include the U.S. Marshal Service, have been used to track down those responsible, and Chief Will Smith says their work isn't done.
And I would ask that even though we have these persons arrested and the 3rd to be arrested, we still need persons to come forward.
After 6 weeks of pursuit of Turner, 20-year-old Jesus Turner of South Street in Chesterfield County was arrested on December 15, 2019 by the U.S. Marshals Regional Fugitive Task Force that was working alongside the Richmond Police. Kevin Connolly, a supervisor for the task force, said that Turner was arrested along with an associate who was also wanted by Chesterfield County for an unrelated charge of failing to appear in court to face a drug charge. They were found at a house around 10 or 11 a.m. on Sunday. In a news release, James Lino, captain of the Richmond Police Department's Major Crime Unit, thanked the U.S. Marshals for capturing the third suspect wanted in the tragic incident. Additionally, he thanked the FBI for offering our reward to those who came forward with information and the community members who provided tips. Richmond Police Chief Gerald Smith credited the arrest to the team of detectives working the case and tips received from residents who were outraged by the death of a young child due to senseless gun violence. Turner was charged with murder, 2 counts of malicious wounding, and 3 counts of use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. Throughout his trial, the defense argued that there was no physical evidence that Turner was even there. Similarly to the trials of his co-conspirators, the prosecution brought in witnesses from the shootout, including the now 13-year-old boy who was also shot in the incident. They also brought in investigators, a medical examiner, and forensics in an effort to prove that Turner played a role in Markiya's death. Turner's team didn't call any witnesses while trying to prove that Turner was not present at the incident. After a little over 1 hour of deliberation, on June 23, 2021, shortly before 8:30 p.m., Jesus Turner was found guilty of all charges relating to the incident. Of the 3 men convicted, Turner received the most serious conviction, while Betts and Davis were both convicted of second-degree murder. Turner was convicted of first-degree murder, a charge that could carry a punishment ranging anywhere from 20 years to life in prison. I must commend Markiya's family for their strength throughout this tragic time and their commitment to ensuring that her name lives on. I will be following the outcome as we await the sentencing of the final convicted murderer, so be sure to subscribe for updates. I hope that the family of Markiya Dickson is able to find solace in the happy memories, and may her soul rest in perpetual peace. Thank you.